When we think about the reforms of Solon and Clisthenes in the ancient Greek society, we have to understand that this type of reforms wanted to create a connection between people, in particular that was in relation of different type of classes. In fact, we understand that in the archaic period there were aristocrats who had the power. In particular, they had the privilege and the monopoly to participate at the defense of a territory, therefore to participate at the political life. In the ancient Greek society, to participate at the political life, you had to defend the territory and fought to the territory. This is and fight to the territory. This was really important. Therefore, in the ancient Greek society, for example, we see this in Homer, in particular in the Iliad, but also in the Odyssey. Were the aristocrats that fought for the defense of a territory. For example, in the Iliad, we understand this if we consider Agamemnon, Menelao, Achilles, Hector's, Parides, etc. Because Odysseus, because these men were always and all kings. For example, Achilles, king, prince of Myrmidons, son of Peleus, Odysseus, king of Ithaca, an island of the Mediterranean, of the Ionian Sea. But also Agamemnon, king of Mycenae, and his brother Menelao, king of Troy. King of Sparta, and Hector, son of Priamos, and Agamemnon. Hector was a prince of Troy. Priamo, king of Troy. Parides, brother of Hector, prince of Troy. We understand that in this sense they were all aristocrats, and this type of men fought to the defense of a territory, therefore to participate at the political life. When Homer he wrote in particular in probably 8th century BC or 7th century BC. His narration, he explained some topics and history that could be happen in the 12 or before the 12th century BC. A potential war of Troy before the 12th century BC, in particular between the Mycenaeans and this city of the western part of Turkey, of the Asia Minor, Troy, near the sea. And this is interesting because Homer wrote about this war with his informations, the informations that he could have in his period. In particular, a general type of informations, and also some informations, a lot of informations that arrived to him from other people who exposed that histories, the ideas. These men who explained this history about a potential war, and Homer, that didn't have this type of particular knowledge about that period, used his knowledge for the of the 8th century, 7th century BC to rewrite a potential history with his topics in relation with that potential war that was fought in the 12th century BC or before the 12th century BC. This is interesting because Homer, therefore, he was a man of the archaic period, and also in the Odyssey he explains about a travel of a man that arrived, for example, in the South Italy, in Sicily, in Calabria, etc. And he did an important travel to return to Ithaca, his home, after the War of Troy. Iliad and Odyssey are in relationship because in history we understand that in the 8th century BC and 7th century BC there was the second colonization of the Greek people in South Italy, for example, Sicily, for example. And for example, Syracuse was founded in 8th century BC. This is really important because when Homer wrote his poems, Greeks created specific type of movements, and Homer was influenced by these movements. Therefore, a first type of colonization, 12th century BC, but also 10th century BC, 11th century BC, from the Greece to Asia Minor, of the Greek people, in particular by the Peloponnese, by the Attics, etc., to the Asia Minor, some cities that was found, for example, Miletus, but also other cities of Asia Minor, for example, Smyrna. Today its name is Izmir, and these people created new cities. Greek people created new cities. For example, the movements of the Ionian people, of the Greek people, of the Ionian movement. This is really important because it's true that the characters of the Iliad and the Odyssey are invented, but at the same time, Homer used this character to explained a potential really history, a war between the Mycenaeans and the Troy before the 12th century BC, but at the same time he used his knowledge of the 8th, 7th century BC and also 6th century BC, that this was a sort of continuing, and he used this knowledge to create these poems, to create history, and because he didn't have the knowledge of the 12th century BC to tell the history of that war, he found an escamotage, a really important movement to create a relationship between the past and his present, and how create a specific type of characters using his present, using their characters, the characters of the aristocrats, the characters of the people who fought for the lands, or better, who at the same time birth for in that lands, possessing that lands, and at the same time in relation with a family, an aristocrat's family. This is really important, and it is important that there was also a movement of a different type of consideration in the classical world, because if we understand the reform of Cleisthenes, but also before Cleisthenes, Solon, we understand that these reforms was in relation with a specific type, or a first type of democracy, in particular the reform of Solon, that could consider that not only the aristocrats but also other could participate at the defense of the territory, but also at the political life in relation with the income. The income was in relation with the people, was in relation, the potential political life was in relation with the income, in relation with the work. The work create as a consequence an income, and there was, according to Solon in his reform, a hierarchy of the incomes. Therefore, in relation with your income, you was in a specific type of hierarchy, or better, you was in a hierarchy in a specific type of place. Therefore, if you have a specific type of income or another, you could be or not participate a specific type of political position. And for Cleisthenes, according to Clisthenes, the reform of Clisthenes after the tyranny of Pisistratus was different because after Solon there was in Athens the tyranny of Pisistratus, but after the tyranny of Pisistratus there was the reform of Clisthenes, and this type of reform was really important because the reform of Clisthenes created a specific type of true democracy. In fact, democracy is a sort of place in the city. Democracy is in relation with the word demo or demoi or demi. Demo is singular, demi is plural, and this type of situation is a place where people were and where people create their family, etc., where people lived in a simple sense. And each people in this reform of Clisthenes was in relation with a specific type of family, and according to Clisthenes, people had to live in a territory. In fact, each group in the classical groups in Athens, the tribes were 10, and each group of this tribu, each tribe, in a single sense, had to live in at the same time the part of the city, of the intern city, in the center of the city, the part near the sea, and the mountain part. Therefore, if each tribe was in relation with these three parts, at the same time, the aristocrats, the middle class, etc., of these tribes were in relation between them, because each tribe was in relation with these three parts. Therefore, also they aristocrats and the people of the middle classes. This is important because this reform of Clisthenes create a relationship between tribes and people with different birth. Some people who was born with by the aristocrats and not, etc. This type of reforms, the reforms of Clisthenes, but also the first reforms of Solon, wanted to create a conjugation between people with different birth to create, to limit the conflict in a simple sense. And this is important because also the reform of Clisthenes created a new type of consideration, the ostracism, to limit the imposition of the tyranny. Therefore, each year there was a vote where people voted to ostracizate a person who could a problem or a potential tyrant of the city. Bye.